The path from startup to success overflows with challenges and pivotal moments that mold both companies and founders. A key relationship often underpins this journey: the bond between entrepreneurs and the venture capitalists funding their visions. Grasping this dynamic is critical for anyone hoping to traverse the intricate realm of startup financing. While many believe founders primarily chase dreams of riches, their true motivations are far more nuanced. Successful entrepreneurs are propelled by a profound drive to transform the world. Examining their psychology reveals distinct traits setting them apart. They blend visionary optimism with a confidence that attracts talent, investment, and opportunity like a gravitational force. Consider Christoph Westphal, who discovered research hinting certain compounds could slow aging. Westphal took a massive pay cut to found Certris Pharmaceuticals and chase this revolutionary vision of helping people live longer, healthier lives. His team's commitment ran so deep, they tested experimental formulas on themselves, arriving at investor meetings with injection marks on their arms. This fusion of unshakable belief and personal dedication convinced investors Westphal was worth backing. Pharmaceutical titan GlaxoSmithKline later acquired the company for $720 million. Westphal's confidence was tempered by what he termed healthy paranoia. As he explained, he always assumed everything would go wrong, noting this anxiety spurs entrepreneurs to foresee problems and reduce risks. Intel's Andrew Grove famously declared that only the paranoid survive. For LinkedIn founder Reid Hoffman, entrepreneurship meant maximizing impact, not personal wealth. After PayPal's success, he sought to make the biggest possible difference in the world. Recognizing the traditional model of working 40 years at one company was crumbling, Hoffman built LinkedIn to help individuals manage their careers as small businesses, despite investors initially dismissing his vision as too niche. These visionaries share a unifying drive. They strive not just to build successful companies, but to transform how we live, work, and experience the world. Understanding this entrepreneurial DNA provides insight into what separates those who create billion-dollar companies from mere dreamers. Building a thriving startup takes more than a visionary founder with a brilliant idea. It also requires the right investor who shares your vision and has the resources to help make it happen. Some of the world's most innovative companies succeeded because a venture capitalist made a pivotal choice to back them. But for many entrepreneurs, the venture capital universe can seem opaque, guided by unspoken norms and concealed dynamics. The global venture capital community is surprisingly intimate and exclusive. While their impact on the world economy is immense, only around 1,000 individuals drive the key investment choices in the VC world. These power players, primarily based in Silicon Valley, Boston, and New York, invest in startups that make up an incredible 1/5 of the U.S. GDP. The decisions they make determine which new technologies and ideas make it to market. When you step into a VC firm, you might be struck by how much everyone tends to resemble each other. The typical partner is a 30-something to late 40-something male sporting khakis and a collared shirt. But that's where the uniformity ends. VC investors employ a wide range of strategies. Some VCs, like Tim Draper, have a global mindset. Born into a multi-generational VC family, Draper has backed startups from Vietnam to Russia. His guiding principle: I love entrepreneurs. I want to find them everywhere. Others, like David Hornick, specialize deeply. With an elite law degree and deep passion for tech and music, Hornick zones in on Silicon Valley software deals. His firm brims with technical expertise, allowing them to assess innovations with utmost precision. Then there are early-stage specialists like Howard Morgan. Boasting an IQ north of 150, Morgan's intellectual firepower is an asset for vetting raw startups. His firm's philosophy is simple: failing cheap. They make more bets with smaller checks, knowing many will flop but hunting for the rare grand slams. VCs also vary greatly in their fund structures. Some deploy billions, cutting checks no smaller than 8 figures to more mature startups. Others operate leaner funds, enabling smaller bets on less proven but high-potential concepts. Fund size is a key factor in which startups a VC will even consider. Following the money reveals much about what drives VCs. They typically charge from 2 to 2.5% yearly for fund management, covering salaries and overhead. But the real payoff comes from carried interest, usually from 20 to 25% of profits. This model creates inherent tension. VCs need 5 to 10 times returns to generate acceptable results, sometimes at odds with founders happy with smaller outcomes. The VC mindset marries creativity, curiosity, and hard-nosed business sense. They fund maybe 1 in 300 pitches, making them simultaneously an entrepreneur's greatest champion and toughest gatekeeper. Grasping the insider dynamics of this rarefied world is key to approaching them successfully and landing the funding that can bring your idea to life. With such a low investment rate from VCs, a brilliant idea alone won't secure funding. How you present that idea, your pitch, can make all the difference. The art of the pitch combines preparation, storytelling, and strategic relationship building that begins long before stepping into a conference room. To achieve a successful pitch, start by getting access to the right people. Cold emails to VCs are almost pointless, with the odds of getting funded through an unsolicited approach at around 50,000 to 1. Navigate through the VC's network instead. When Michael Bronner and Jeff Bussgang wanted to pitch their college savings startup Upromise to legendary investor John Doerr, they networked to him through a Harvard Business School professor, a Silicon Valley CEO, and a Fortune 500 executive. After hearing about them from these trusted sources, even the busy Doerr thought it was worth a meeting. The first few minutes of your valuable meeting are essential. VCs form quick initial judgments based on how you present yourself and your idea. Fred Wilson of Union Square Ventures admits that if you're 15 minutes into a pitch and he knows he's not interested, the next 45 minutes are brutal. The most effective founders check in 15 minutes into the presentation to gauge interest before continuing, showing emotional intelligence and respecting everyone's time. The content of your pitch is as important as how you secure it. Constant Contact CEO Gail Goodman pitched to over 40 VC firms before securing her first round of funding. What finally worked was demonstrating what VCs call an unfair advantage, why her specific team was uniquely qualified to execute this vision when others might fail. Downplaying risks in your pitch actually hurts your credibility. When Westphal pitched Certrus, he told potential investors the odds that he's right are less than 10%. But if he's right, it's really big. This candor built trust rather than undermining confidence. The most compelling pitches show progress over time, what investors call the movie, not the snapshot. Eric Paley secured funding for his dental imaging company Brontes by meeting with potential investors numerous times over 12 months, demonstrating milestone achievements at each meeting. This approach convinced investors of his ability to execute, ultimately leading to a $95 million acquisition by 3M. A successful pitch involves securing capital and finding the right partner for your entrepreneurial journey. The best founders approach this process as selective business owners seeking the ideal collaborator to help bring their transformative vision to life. Securing a VC's interest is just the beginning of a complex journey culminating in a partnership, shaping your company's future. When a VC says they're interested in funding your startup, the real work begins, determining if they're the right partner and negotiating terms that protect your interests while allowing both parties to succeed together. The moment a VC expresses interest in your company can feel like triumph after months of rejection. Yet seasoned entrepreneurs recognize this as the time for careful evaluation. As one VC puts it, if he were an entrepreneur given the choice between banging his head against a cinder block wall for a year or taking money from a notoriously difficult partner, he'd opt for the wall. Twitter founder Jack Dorsey describes this decision starkly, knowing he was hiring a boss he couldn't fire when selecting a VC partner. Chemistry with your potential investor matters more than any other factor. After pitching to numerous firms, Dorsey chose Fred Wilson of Union Square Ventures because of their connection. Wilson was very aggressive, in a good way, in a thinking way. He had no subtlety at all. But more importantly, he was a day-to-day user of the service, and obviously loved it. This genuine passion for the product created the foundation for trust that would carry them through difficult decisions ahead. Beyond chemistry, evaluate what tangible value a VC brings to your company. The best VCs serve as strategic counselors, helping you arrive at critical decisions while respecting your authority as CEO. Wilson sees himself as the entrepreneur's consigliere, a trusted advisor with pattern recognition from seeing similar situations play out across many companies. The beauty of being a VC is they've seen all these issues many times. Wilson's been involved in this business for a long time and has observed enough to know what's happening and interpret it appropriately. Equally important is a VC's ability to help with recruiting key talent. Many critical executive hires at successful startups come through venture capitalist connections. Board members who actively open their networks to help fill critical roles can accelerate your company's growth dramatically. Once you've identified the right partner, negotiations begin, and price is just one component of the deal. The term sheet outlines not just economics, but control provisions that determine decision-making authority throughout your company's life. Pre-money valuation gets the most attention, but equally important are liquidation preferences, board composition, and protective provisions that require investor approval for major decisions. Even with the perfect partner and ideal terms secured, the real drama of startup life only begins after the deal closes. The day-to-day reality of building a company resembles less a smooth, upward trajectory and more a soap opera filled with plot twists, emotional highs and lows, and characters whose relationships evolve in unexpected ways. Understanding these dynamics helps you face the inevitable challenges that emerge as your vision confronts reality. Every startup journey follows a predictable yet challenging path with 3 distinct phases. Initially, you find yourself in the jungle, a chaotic environment where no clear path exists, and you must hack through the foliage, changing direction frequently as you encounter obstacles. During this phase, the metric for success isn't revenue but buzz, how much positive word of mouth you generate. One seasoned executive quipped that at this stage, your PR ratio matters more than your PE ratio. Eventually, you reach the dirt road. You're shipping product, generating revenue, and have established strategic direction. The path forward contains bumps and occasional turns, but follows a recognizable route with fewer surprises. Revenue growth becomes the key metric, though absolute numbers matter less than consistent upward trajectory. Finally, you arrive at the highway, moving at high speed with less maneuverability, where profitability becomes the central focus. These transitions create natural tension points between founders, executives, and board members. The skills that make someone brilliant at navigating the jungle often differ from those needed to build systems for highway travel. As your company evolves, some team members may struggle to adapt, creating difficult conversations about roles and responsibilities. One of the most common startup dramas unfolds when the board gradually loses faith in the founding CEO. What begins as universal admiration for the visionary founder slowly erodes with missed deadlines, unmet projections, or strategic missteps. Trust deteriorates further when the CEO begins to feel under attack, often responding defensively rather than transparently. Board members start questioning information provided, interrogating team members directly, and attempting to exert greater control. The downward spiral typically ends with the CEO's removal, damaging both the company and relationships. After years of navigating the jungle, traversing the dirt road, and accelerating down the highway, entrepreneurs face the ultimate decision that will define their journey: when and how to exit. This critical juncture transforms theoretical company valuations into real wealth, but it's fraught with emotional complexity and strategic considerations that extend far beyond simple economics. The exit represents dramatically different experiences for venture capitalists and entrepreneurs. For VCs, exits are routine transactions that return capital to their limited partners, ideally at multiples that justify their investment strategy. But for founders, selling their company feels more like parting with a child they've raised from infancy. As one entrepreneur put it, when it comes to the breakfast of eggs and bacon, the chicken is interested, but the pig is committed. Despite the emotional significance, timing an exit correctly requires balancing objective factors with personal considerations. Successful entrepreneurs typically weigh 5 key questions. Do I still love running the business or feel exhausted? Do I still believe passionately in the company's potential? How does today's offer compare to what might be available in 1 or 2 years? Will the business require additional capital, and at what terms? What do my team, investors, and family advise? Wilson of Union Square Ventures recalls a startup that received a $100 million acquisition offer that would have made the founders tens of millions personally. He could see it in their eyes. Their wives were saying, "Take the money," and he totally respected it. They have kids, they have wives, mortgages, lives. That's what happens, he thinks, when you get into your 30s and even in your 40s. He thinks that sometimes it's harder to throw caution to the wind and go for it. Just outright go for it. The journey to a successful exit often begins years before the actual transaction. Paley's sale of dental imaging company Brontes to 3M for $95 million exemplifies the strategic preparation required. Paley spent 2 years educating potential acquirers about his technology's progress, creating what VCs call the movie, not the snapshot, a compelling narrative of consistent achievement. When a competitor made an initial offer of $55 million, Paley leveraged his relationships with other industry players to create an auction environment, ultimately driving the price up by over 70%. In conclusion, founders and investors form a dynamic relationship driven by shared goals and mutual trust to navigate the unpredictable path of building a company. From crafting compelling pitches to overcoming challenges and making critical exit decisions, every step requires strategic thinking and emotional intelligence. Ultimately, it's the combination of bold ideas, strong partnerships, and relentless execution that transforms dreams into reality, offering valuable lessons for anyone aiming to turn their vision into something extraordinary. Thank you so much for listening and joining us. If you enjoyed this summary and found it valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth book breakdowns. Stay curious, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next video.